Cancer horoscope for 2024. Cancer, you are the crustacean of the zodiac, the crab shell that covers all in life that is homey, familiar, sacred. But what if I told you that 2024 for the crabs is about leaving your shells behind, departing your comfort zone and initiating a brand new era? Hi, my name is Lulu Lunar. Welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology and today all things Cancer 2024 forecast. What is in your year ahead and how you can seize the cosmic opportunities that await you within the next trip around the sun. Also, you can learn how to navigate some of the celestial challenges that await you within your unique lineup of transits that you are experiencing this year 2024. This is part of my brand new series called the 12 Days of Cosmos, where I'm taking every single sign through their 2024 major themes. And the part you want to focus on from this series is most certainly about your rising sun, which will be the most accurate forecast for your year ahead. And pay attention to a lesser degree to your sun sign. This is because throughout this forecast, I'll be utilizing techniques that pull from your solar houses, your sun sign, and your actual houses, your ascendant. Of course, you're most welcome to follow your other placements like your moon. I know you lunars do love your moon. Your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, whatever you like. Just know that a lot of the techniques that I pull from in order to paint a picture of your year ahead will be based on houses. That will be the case if you are a Cancer Sun or a Cancer Ascendant. And before we dive into all of your transits, Cancer, let's be real, there's a lot coming in for you next year. My big mission that all of my work revolves around in every single forecast, every single offering that I put out there, they all revolve around this mission of empowering individuals with astrology. It is never my intention to fearmonger you with this information. I simply want to empower you to know the themes that are coming up and how to co-create with the cosmos in order to make 2024 simply magical. This year on the menu, we have the closing out of a karmic cycle that has been alive within your universe since 2008. There is stepping into a fearless era where it relates to your business and your career. We have a lot to talk about Cancer, so let's go ahead and get into telling the story of the Cancer 2024 forecast, stepping out of the comfort zone. So, Cancer, in telling the story of your 2024, I want to start by getting you acquainted with your defining transit of 2024. That is a transit which, when you think of 2024 years into the future, you'll remember, 2024, that was the year that Pluto wrapped up its journey in Capricorn. Pluto has been transiting your opposite sign Capricorn since 2008. Which means that at one point in time between 2008 and today, you've experienced a Pluto transit, a Pluto opposition to be exact. What I want to tell you, Cancer, is that not everybody has to go through a Pluto opposition during their time here on Earth. We will only experience Pluto transiting through a handful of signs during the years that we have on this planet. Not everybody has to go through that rebirth that you have gone through, and of course, this shows up in many different shades. But first, I want to say that the story that's been going on since 2008 comes to a close within 2024. There can be a certain energy around the rebirth, finally feeling complete and finally feeling that you're able to move into some semblance of security after a lot has been taken from you. That's the energy of Pluto, and I want to let you know that you will have felt this Pluto energy punctuate in the moments that it exactly opposed your Cancer placements. You'll want to look at the degrees, but for this year, I want you to observe if you have a Cancer placement at 29 degrees. That means that you will have a Pluto transit within 2024. Keep in mind, Pluto has been to the sector of the sky where it has been dabbling into Aquarius, and it finally sets in for the long haul in November 2024. Pluto is the planet of transformation. It is the planet of power, but not just power that is given, it is power that is earned. The sector of life, Cancer, that this energy was focused upon was relationships. So we are taking some space and time in 2024 to really acknowledge how far you have come within your connections, within your relationships, and the overall healing for connections. There can be an energy around wrapping up that transformation that's been underway since 2008. And this is going to show up in a lot of different shades. For some of you, there could have been certain connections since 2008 that really made you confront the darker underbelly of human nature and the human psyche. For some of you, there could have been people that you were connected to who either were deeply jealous and tried to siphon your energy from you, energy vampires, very manipulative, or there could have been people who are very controlling, trying to tell you what to do. Those could have been very intense experiences within relationship experiences that set you ablaze, set you on fire with passion and with intensity, and left you a transformed version of yourself. For some Cancers, you could have gone through some major transformations within relationships throughout this time. For some of you, you could have navigated a major breakup. For a lot of you, there could have been power struggles with that person not wanting to let you go, or maybe even trespassing your territory. Honestly, when we talk about Pluto, sometimes it's like a battle for survival. You could have felt like you had to fight for your ability to be your own person. You could have really had to encounter some darker themes related to your connections and perhaps releasing this connection from your life. Some of you could have been caught up in a power struggle like some sort of nasty divorce, or even within business partnerships, a business partner trying to sue you or trying to control you in some essence. When Pluto is finally departing this sector, there is this energy involving some stability for your one-to-one relationships. For the Cancers who are following and are thinking, but Lulu Lunar, I have been in a relationship since 2008. Observe how you and your partner have evolved, because when it comes to 7th house transits, either houses or solar houses, a lot of time it can represent what our partner is going through. Some of you could have found that your partner had to navigate a period of grief. Your partner could have had some existential crisis as Pluto energy takes us deep into what really matters. For some of you, you could be dating the same person that you were dating in 2008, but are you really dating the same person? Maybe it seems and feels like a changed version of that person because of what they have gone through, or because of what they have awakened to, or who it is that they have lost, or what crisis that they have had to navigate. Some of you, during this time with Pluto transiting here, you feel that you too, as a couple, could have had to navigate some crisis situations like losing jobs or losing houses. Again, Pluto oftentimes does have a tendency to take things away from us. So there could have been this energy here around wanting to build with this person, but feeling like you constantly have to start over from square one. We all know that the energy of Cancer is all about security within your life, which could have made you feel quite uneasy. This transit could have also prompted a certain transformation within your relationship. Remember that As we evolve, our relationships must evolve as well. And whether your partner started it or you started it, you may realize that you are not the same couple that you were when this transit began. Pluto energy reminds us that to grow means to outgrow. So for some of you, you have lived this amazing transformative experience within your connection, and for others of you, there may be a nudge around where it is that you are evolving beyond that relationship. The energy of Pluto is about transformation, so maybe even though that connection was very good when you entered it in 2008 or whenever it started, there still is that energy with Pluto transiting here, which urges you to be true to your psyche towards what it is that you really want and observe if you are still growing within that connection. Contemplate if you have the ability to evolve within this connection. Pluto energy brings us deep, so whether you're in a connection or not, there can be a lot of thoughts around what it is that I really want within a partnership. Do I want security? Do I want stability? Do I want passion? What's important to me? Furthermore, with Pluto being the planet of the psyche and psychology, some of you could be going really deep with it, wondering, have I chosen this person because they model something that feels very familiar to me from my upbringing? We all know the energy of Cancer is associated with the past, and that's why it's so important to continually reflect upon, does this connection relate to a past version of me? Pluto energy can make it apparent where it is that we are evolving and whether our connections are evolving with us. Again, that is not saying everybody is going through a breakup this year. If you're still within a relationship at the end of this, it is very likely the energy of Pluto has led to deepening this transformative energy, or at least the stability for you to be able to evolve and transform within your own right. You could have had to navigate fears, either individually or within a couple, and maybe your partner really stepped up in order to help you navigate your fears. You had to weigh out what is rational versus what is not rational. And that leads me to a really important part about Pluto, as Pluto is the planet of paranoia. So you could have found that throughout this period, you have been quite paranoid where it relates to new individuals. You might have found that you were a little guarded or not wanting to open up right away. Some others may have had a really intense reaction to you in 2008. Like I said, you could have navigated through your fair share of dealing with narcissists or the people who are trying to copy from you, become you, siphon your energy, and maybe that's why you are a little guarded. You are a little paranoid, and that's the struggle of Pluto. It's like it awakens a truer version of the world where you have to confront the people who will try to siphon your creativity. There are people who will try to dim your light. There are people who will try to control you and manipulate you. But that is not the norm. I can tell you that being on the other side of Pluto, you do get more acquainted with the reality of human nature. Cancer is such a sweet, compassionate energy that you could have found since this transit began in 2008. There have been certain weird encounters within your one-to-one that really made you confront different shades of experience that are alive within you and within your one-to-one connections. Of course, discernment is always necessary, but with Pluto transiting here, you should feel after it officially departs in November 2024, you should feel a little bit more open, a little less skeptical that people can be good and have good intentions for you and for your life. I always believe that transits are portals. They take us into a new era, and for you, you are getting to the other side of this transit as a more empowered, actualized, and smarter individual. Listen, you've always been shrewd. You have Cancer placements, you can read energy. You can pick up on when someone is lying to you or being deceitful to you or things of that nature. But you've been through this initiation since 2008, around having to come face to face with the idea that, dang, there really are people who may not have great intentions for me within this world. True, there are certain people that you will date who will want to control you. There are certain people who will not take no for an answer when you want to break up with them. So it does make you have to confront some of that more obsessive or intense behavior. Yet, do not feel like that is the norm. Again, you could feel to a certain degree on the other end of this transit like, oh my gosh, I've just had so many weird or strange or intense experiences within my one-to-one connections. This transit can make a lot of people jaded, but what I really feel for you, or at least what I hope for you, Cancer, is that you are still continually working that muscle of having faith. And I say muscle because you have Saturn transiting the 9th house, and with the energy of Cancer, you are somebody who is very sweet. You really pour into those that you love, and hopefully the energy of Pluto transiting the 7th house made you more discerning about where it is that you direct that love. With the energy of Pluto and Capricorn, you are also observing how and what it is that you want and prioritize within relationships. You may have transformed, and the relationships may have transformed as well. Maybe in 2008 you were looking for something in particular, and now you have evolved, maybe because of the rebirth. You have navigated the transformation. You have navigated the grief since 2008. Maybe it has awakened you to what it is that you really want out of those experiences and what it is that you really want out of a life partner. Pluto is the planet of grief. I don't want you to have any fear moving into this year. That is not my intention whatsoever. Oftentimes, Pluto can show up within many nuanced shades around a certain grieving, around who it is that we used to be, or even grieving a relationship. Again, to grow means to outgrow. And for some, with the energy of Pluto, there can be this deep contemplation around observing how we are feeling urged to grow beyond the comfort zone of our connection. If that is what is in your heart and what is on your mind, it certainly is not the case for every single Cancer. And some of you could just be navigating energy within your partnership, or it is your partners moving through something big, navigating grief or even grieving a prior version of themselves. Now, I do want to highlight, Cancer, that there could have been certain contacts that you have made or maybe will make in the grand finale of this transit this year with people who set fire to your soul or really catalyze and up-level your own transformation. This shows up in so many different ways. Just as transits are portals into our different version of ourselves and into a different timeline, people can be portals as well. Whether it was someone that we were in a relationship with who catalyzed our transformation, or even just someone that you briefly interacted with, or something about them just set fire to your soul. It just kind of lit a fire under your butt. There could have been certain sacred mirrors of coming into contact with very powerful people who reflected to you your own power and who sort of prompted you to level up yourself. This could show up in positive ways around a crush that you meet who has something about them that just makes you step into this new timeline within yourself. You're motivated, you're more empowered, you're more resilient. Something about interacting with that person within their actualization, within their power, just what emotions that they elicited within you brought out all of these different shades and all of these different nuances of the person that you are. Perhaps all those were already there, but were dormant, and Pluto energy can be this huge transformation energy, and you are stepping into a new transformative timeline through interacting with someone. Again, this could be a serious relationship, being with somebody where we step into new gifts, new talents of our own, new business opportunities with Pluto and Capricorn. This could be even, let's be real about that, 7th house is also the house of enemies. There could have been certain people that you have been competitive with, or that you've had strong relationships with, and who inspired you to transform, to stunt on them, to tap into your most powerful self. Again, all that is just fuel to the energy of Pluto. It's not the most stable influence, but sometimes connections are put into our pathway just to awaken something within us, just to kick off a new era within our journey. And so it's less so around, oh, I'm going to be with this person forever, or is this going to be my arch nemesis forever? It's simply about how that person activates and inspires and levels up new components of ourselves. I can't remember the reference exactly now, but I think there was an ice skater in the Olympics who, within her acceptance speech, had said, and this one goes out to all of my haters. I want to be so forthright, Cancer. You could have observed more hater energy within your orbit since 2008. People who maybe were very nice to your face but had sinister intentions. People who just automatically did not like you or had a really intense reaction to you. Even people who got obsessed with you and wanted to copy you. There could have been a lot of really extreme reactions within other people. And what I want to say with the haters who could have been in your orbit since 2008 is that they can be your greatest motivators. I hate to be corny, but it is so true, particularly where it relates to competitors or people trying to steal your ideas or siphon your energy or what have you. Allow that to be the fuel. It's not about them. It's about all that continues to drive you to show up. An athlete is only as talented as their competitor because it up-levels you. It challenges you in new ways to keep going, to keep showing up. Now, for some Cancers, you could have been the obsessed one or the competitive one, or you could have found within a competitor potential romantic interest, somebody who really captured your interest, and you might have gotten really obsessed with them. The energy of Pluto really reminds us that we have so little control of life. I know it's super uncomfy. I'm not comfortable with it at all, but that's the truth of the matter. You cannot control people. You cannot influence them to live a certain way. What I would highlight here is just honoring that we are all on our own path. What is meant to be will be, and just knowing that when you are directing a lot of mental energy towards someone, that is your power. You are leaking your power. Now, I'm not saying you can't think about anyone ever. All I'm saying is if there is somebody who just sets fire to you, activates you in brand new ways, that is fuel that could be like a sort of a muse type energy for you to step into your most embodied, your most empowered timeline. Always collect the data. Take the fuel and focus it towards your own efforts. Don't leak so much of your power trying to control someone or getting very obsessive over someone. Or if that shows up within a competitor, focus on yourself, on your own lane. Your energy is currency. And when you obsess over someone, and I think I want this person to be mine, or you obsess over what my competitor is doing, you are leaking out your energy. And part of the Pluto transits were to activate you to step into your own power and not leak it out this way or the other. So a lot of this energy, Cancer, is in your rear view mirror. You are playing out the grand finale of Pluto in Capricorn. For the most part, the transformation that has been underway for you since 2008 concerning who it is that you partner with, how it is that you show up within connections, who it is that you trust, and how it is that you function within connections, that has been through an utter transformation. The year starts out with Pluto and Capricorn. It re-enters Aquarius on January 20th. You have a long break of the Pluto story. Then it re-enters Capricorn on October 1st, then re-enters Aquarius for good, wrapping up the transformation that for you has been showing up within your one-to-one connections, partnerships, and interactions with the general public since 2008. So to wrap up this conversation, all I want to say, Cancer, is congratulations. Just observe the transformation that has taken place and made you show up the person that you are, because oftentimes there can be certain sinister types that we interact with when Pluto transits here. I hope that those experiences really clarified how you want to be and how you want to lead your life. Maybe you got a lot of that data about what you do not want to do, who it is that you do not want to partner with again. Pluto energy transforms us, and there could be a grieving period because we are not the same person we were in 2008. I'm not the same open, trusting person that I was before this transit began in 2008. So allow for that grieving process. If that is coming up for you, Cancer, because Pluto energy is an energy of evolve or decline. For a lot of you, you were pushed into this new era. You were pushed into this timeline. Like, ready or not, that's what it is at the moment. Pluto energy can go deep. It can show up within shades of obsession and jealousy and intensity and power struggles and battles for control. And even to a certain degree, some of you may have felt like you had to battle for your own survival. I just want to say, not everybody has to go through Pluto opposition, but you did, and that makes you a survivor. So to you, my moon-ruled loves, next we will investigate the moon in the year 2024. As you know, you are ruled by a luminary that changes signs every 2 to 3 days, so you are the most influenced by the moon. Observing when it changes signs, you're more affected by new moons and full moons. This section is less about detailing every single time moon changes signs, because then we would have to be there all day. And besides, I do a weekly horoscope series. It's called Magic Monday, where I break down what the moon is doing every single week and how that's influencing you. So you'll be able to stay tuned with the moon every week of 2024 there. However, within this section, we're going to detail the big picture themes of the moon, which is told by the story of North Node and Aries plus South Node and Libra, which is a story that I want to let you know is accentuated by the eclipses. I'll let you know the eclipse dates and themes in a moment, but let's first set the scene around where fate is guiding you or where fate is finding you, because that is the domain of the North Node and the South Node. With North Node and Aries, you are being pushed by the universe low-key into a new era of leadership within your business, within your career. You are being guided to open to new opportunities to show up in a more public way. And it's so fascinating because we know that Cancer is a sign that typically feels a little bit more comfortable in private, keeping things sacred. But this is a year you're being asked to step into the spotlight, my love, and that's going to vary based on the crustacean who is following right now. But what I want to say is that With the energy of North Node in Aries, you could feel launched into visibility. You can find that you are experiencing a quickening related to projects that you have been working on. You can feel thrust into a new leadership position. A lot of you could be starting a new business or something that is brand new for you. I want to let you know, Cancer, that it is absolutely natural for you to question as you embark on this transit, to ask yourself, am I ready for this? But it's important to highlight North Node is in Aries, which is the sign of being fearless and knowing that you have something to share, you have something to say, you have a way that you mean to inspire, and this is a year that you can feel activated to do that. Honestly, Cancer, even though Aries has very direct, very forthright, very bold dynamics than your own, it's important to highlight that this is a fellow cardinal sign. And you can't forget you're a cardinal sign as well. And cardinal signs within astrology are driven by taking action, taking charge, initiating. So even though you're going to have certain fears of showing up, this is the time for you to show up. And you have the courage codes. You have the leadership codes within you to lead in a very radically authentic way. Honestly, for some Cancers, there's a mission for the soul. There's a big sense of something more that is helping you tap into a brand of courage that you did not even realize you had. It's like when you're plugged into the universal's energy, you are a lot more courageous, you're a lot more inspired because it's bigger than you. I really feel like a lot of you Cancers are tapping into something that feels bigger than you, or you've already started something that feels bigger than you. It is inspiring you to show up in big, bold, brand new ways that perhaps you just a few years ago wouldn't have felt were as comfortable. You are really stepping into visibility, and I know Cancers feel more comfortable in their shell, but this is the year in which you are being guided to be visible, to be seen, and it's going to be the most sustainable. If you do feel plugged into the something more, if you do feel like your work is advocating for something that you hold dear, if you do feel like your work is healing something within the collective, if you feel like your passion project is allowing you to show up authentically and truly to yourself, this energy is an Aries energy. This energy supports you while you are initiating and starting. So Cancers, maybe there's been something germinating within you, and this is the time to take charge and allow it to be messy. That's the energy of North Node Aries. Allow it to be messy. That is a tip I'll typically recommend for anyone who's scared to be more public or be more out there, particularly where it relates to social media. But you could really do this across any medium. I'll say go to your favorite creator, go to their channel and click the oldest videos first, or if it's their podcast, go to their oldest podcast first, because it reminds you of the messy draft, the messy first draft. What I mean is that every single time we show up a little bit better. Some of you have been waiting for the perfect timing to initiate the start for something, and the truth is you'll never be fully ready. This is sort of the universe pushing you out of the nest, and you are ready to fly. That's what I want to tell you, Cancer. You are ready to fly. But your desire around wanting it to be perfect or to have it all figured out is keeping you from finding out how strong your wings are. That's why I want you to review whether it was a new anchor or a musician. Go back to the first demo. Go back to the first new clips. See how far they have come with the energy of North Node and Aries. It's empowering the messy first draft. It's empowering leading with action. It's empowering getting over your fears through conquering them within a more public way. So wherever you are scared to show up, remind yourself that you might have certain people that you admire and would love to achieve what they have achieved. Remind yourself how far they have come and know that with the energy of North Node Aries, it's empowering you to take the first step. Some Cancers can be starting a new career path during this transit. Some of you can be starting a new business. Like I said, I feel a lot of you are plugged into a bigger calling. And the reason I say that is because on March 2024, North Node will align with Chiron, who is also transiting the 10th house of your natal chart. And Chiron is the wounded healer. I really see that a lot of Cancers are working through certain wounds that you have from being seen, from being visible. Some Cancers are feeling called to step into a way of how they can heal or even fight for the collective. I say fight because Aries is all about advocacy. And you know, Chiron is about where it is that we have been wounded. But it's also about how it is that we heal and have the capacity to heal. So really within the 10th house and for the collective, you can be healing just by being yourself. That's what I want to say. The energy of Aries is authentic, and with South Node in Libra, which we'll talk about momentarily, but we are giving up the need to show up in a perfect way. Pretty and polished, we're empowering the messy first draft. We're empowering vulnerability with North Node aligning with Chiron. That does not mean you can roll up into your job as a nurse at the hospital with a t-shirt, for example. But I do want to say that with the energy of North Node aligning with Chiron, a lot of you are realizing it is safe to be yourself. Maybe for some of you, if you're creative, you could be tapping into subject matter that is a little bit more vulnerable than what it is that you would touch on. Maybe for some of you, you're contemplating parts of your journey and what was deeply healing for you as you navigated there. And you're feeling encouraged to learn such skills in order to heal and to show up for others in that more vulnerable, that more healing way. For some of you, there can be certain things that you are working through that are allowing you to be seen visibly. And it's so interesting because sometimes that healing can show up in that public level. Like maybe you step up into being a counselor for others. There are parts of your story that do feel healed as you teach something that is heart-centered. For you, you are learning about yourself as you share that short story of what it is that you went through. Begin to gain perspective on yourself, like there's some sort of alignment, honoring the fact that you don't need to fake it any longer. There is this energy coming in that is honoring that fact that your sensitivity is your strength, because that is so true. Cancer, people underestimate you all so often, but you are one of the strongest signs of the zodiac. You went through Pluto opposition, but strength looks different. It's not compartmentalizing and shutting down like with North Node aligning with Chiron. And with your 10th house, you are leading through that more vulnerable, heart-centered, authentic way of showing up. This could be showing up within your career. Some of you may find that there's something that you utilize to heal, that now you're feeling empowered to want to guide or to teach yourself. For some of you, there can be the healing of your fears of visibility. I want to share really quickly that I have my moon and my Chiron in the 12th house. So for me, I was much more comfortable within my own little world. But here I am out here with you all. It's like the more I started showing up consistently, the more I got out of my own head about it, which was honestly quite healing. Just being able to tap into other people who have had their own Chiron stuff. You could be navigating that in your work as well as around people who have had certain wounds, who felt like an outcast, who felt like the black sheep, who felt different than other people. I showed up visibly within those flows of mine. I began to tap into people who were in alignment. It was very healing, and I found that only when I was able to take my Chiron stuff and make it visible. I'm not broadcasting it out, but I'll be forthright. I'll be on it. Within my forecast, I do open up and I share, and there's something healing about other people being able to tap in. I know what that feels like in a world where I felt I had to hide and pretend there are people who are on the same wavelengths. I feel that same energy is coming in for you this year. Whether it's being able to be more vulnerable about what it is that you're moving through, or it is accepting a new leadership position, or it is stepping into a new era within your business, whatever it is, there can be an energy with North Node Chiron of being able to heal through the process of doing that work. It is true that it can make us feel vulnerable, honest, and authentic, and allowing that honesty, but it is allowing that authenticity to be the siren call to attract the right opportunities and the right clients to you. So whether you work in a healing field or not, you could be the one doing the healing. You can find you feeling called towards a healing modality of some sort, which you feel you need to initiate. What I want to say is that there is a quickening around career, and if you get an idea that you feel urged to act upon what it is that you are essentially releasing, it is the South Node in transiting Libra within the 4th house. With South Node and Libra, you are releasing, keeping things superficial, or just like keeping the harmony, just for harmony's sake. The energy of North Node Aries is being direct, it is confronting situations head on. That's a message for one of the Cancers who's following. There's a certain feel of confrontation that you have within career. Maybe it's having to be forthright with your boss about extra pay, or maybe forthright with a client or something of that nature. It suits you to be direct. With the energy of South Node in Libra, you are not faking the funk this year, and you're not wanting to be around on situations that are surface level. You have gone through this Pluto energy. You have been awakened in brand new ways. You have been awakened to new spiritual and psychological truth. So with the energy of South Node Libra, you don't want to just talk about the weather. You don't simply seek to keep the peace. You are less inclined to want to stay perfect and say the perfect things and come across harmonious and perfect all the time. With the energy of North Node Aries, you are being empowered this year to show up courageously, boldly, and authentically yourself. That is how your chart is set up. Essentially, you are here to interact with the world in a very authentic way. And Aries is the sign of initiation. So again, if there's a new idea, you could be chosen to put it out there in the world. With the energy of South Node, Libra, it is so important not to let that energy of what if people don't like it, or if this person thinks it's a bad idea, or if this family member think that is too much, etc. Because they don't have your chart. Of course, you can take the data. Jupiter and Taurus in the first portion of the year will be transiting your 11th house, so you can take the data from your community and from your audience and from your co-workers. You can take the data, but understand this path is your own with Aries North Node. For you, where your 10th house is, that is how you interact with the public. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a sign that is constantly associated with the first. The first person to do this, the first person to do that, defying naysayers or people who are always like, oh, that will never work or whatever. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't have airplanes. We wouldn't have light bulbs. If everybody listened to when other people doubted them or was held back because a new idea was not conventional, we wouldn't have had anything new. We wouldn't have had anything first. In the same manner, in your own way, there can be something that you are being urged to put out there that is new. You could be asked to advocate for something that is heart-centered. That's not the status quo, but someone needs to advocate for these disfranchised groups. Someone needs to enact change. Why can it not be me? With the energy of South Node, Libra, some of you can be essentially letting go of needing to keep the peace or prioritizing yourself through the validation of others. This could show up with family. With this energy in the 4th house, I want to tell you first that this transit, when I had it, I was so fearful moving into it. Because oftentimes when we talk about South Node, we talk about release and loss. And I freaked out. I was thinking, am I going to lose my home? Am I going to lose someone within my family? I super panicked about it. I want to let you know none of those things happened to me, nor did they happen to the majority of my clients. I just want to let you know that because I know sometimes we could be like, oh my gosh, that's so scary to have eclipses here. When it comes to this energy, one manifestation that is honestly the most common that I see is simply having less time to be at home with South Node in the 4th house because you are so busy working and advocating and healing. Within the general collective, whatever it is, you Cancers are getting up to this year, it seems like a lot. With South Node in 4th house, we could have less time to be at home. We could have less time to be around family. If you do have certain family members who have tried to tell you what to do or how to live, there can be a certain rejection of that as you need to carve your own path. You can be releasing what they wanted for you. Some of you could be letting go of a family business or what they desired for you, or even just the role that you have played within the family unit of being the peacekeeper, keeping everyone together. With the energy of North Node Aries, life is too short to constantly have to be compromising and collaborating with you all. I need to reach out and grab my destiny. That's the energy that some of you could be in now. This story will get activated around the eclipses, and those eclipses are as follows. March 25th, we have a lunar eclipse in Libra on the South Node, so this punctuates the story of letting go of the past, particularly when it comes to family, because what I want to say is that for some of you, you've been finding your own validation based on your family and their acceptance of you. This transit could be activating you to step outside of that pattern that you have been in with the energy of North Node Aries. There's this collective call about reaching out and grabbing the desires and the life that we want. Some of you feel like you've been structuring your life, waiting for this validation, that to a certain degree some people are waking up this year and realizing it's never going to come. It's never going to be enough for you. Maybe you're even just trying to garner validation from somebody who never gave it to you in the first place. So you are stepping into your power and you're validating yourself. That is really the energy. Moving into the lunar eclipse in Libra on March 25th, sure enough, there can be certain illuminations. There can be certain fights within the family unit. There can be certain illuminations around home, around how your physical home currently isn't serving you, around how you want to move. Some of you could be moving during this time. There could be culminations occurring there. And for some of you with this energy of South Node in the 4th house, I also see you letting go of the past in a new way. And there can be illuminations about how stories from the past have been holding you back from seizing new opportunities. There's an energy of wanting to be free from that. Because I just want to say, Cancer, it's easier said than done, obviously. But fourth house is not just our family. It is our roots and our generational cycles and understanding that what has transpired is not your fault whatsoever, and understanding that how you move forward is your responsibility. So there can be a certain spotlight clarifying how there are certain fears or ways of seeing the world or certain connections that you have selected that are based on these old operating systems, whether your own family systems or your ancestors' systems. There can be illumination on understanding how these cycles and patterns have held you back. This can show up in many different shades. Some of you could be acknowledging the common thread of codependency and people-pleasing within your generational cycles. Some of you can be observing this energy of being so attuned to the appearances and the need to look perfect, even if what was happening on the inside was quite different. That also could be something you were letting go of in order to claim this more authentic way of expression. That can be a story of an awakening for you. On April 8th, there is a solar eclipse in Aries on the North Node, which absolutely can be this energy about ready or not, here I go. You could be stepping into a new era related to your career. You could be launching something new. I typically do not recommend launching during eclipses, but you could be birthing something new or craving a new job. A new job could fall on your lap. A new opportunity could fall in your lap. A new opportunity to advocate for yourself and your workplace could fall into your lap. For some Cancers, I see it's not so much a new job, but it's new ways of advocating for yourself, letting go of people-pleasing and codependency, which for some of you could have been a theme within your generational cycles. Some of you are standing up for yourself and starting a new era of standing up for yourself in the workplace, with bosses, with authority figures. However that shows up for you, you are standing up. With this solar eclipse on the North Node, you are launched forward. A new era is beginning. I want to close out Aries Libra story before we move on to another outlier of the eclipses. I want to let you know that we have a solar eclipse in Libra on the South Node on October 2nd. And I want to let you know that sometimes new beginnings are disguised as an ending. So for some of you, there could be this new beginning to live in a new city, tied up into selling the present home. There could be an energy of a new start for you in your emotional balance and regulation through cutting off a toxic family member or releasing a certain cycle. There can be this merging of the new and the old and releasing the old to pave the way for the new. I also want to highlight that overall, in terms of this energy, it's like with North Node in the 10th house, a lot of you are experiencing gain with career. But sometimes with North Node, this isn't Jupiter. It isn't just expansion. It shakes things up. So I want to let you know that if you have to or you are forced to walk away from a position, because sometimes eclipses kind of activates that situation where we have no choice but to release a certain cycle. Even if you're like, I'm ready to start my own business, if that happens this year, it is meant to be. I'm not saying you have to quit your job unless you strongly feel that that is what is right for you. But all I want to say is that if you are to let go or something changes randomly and unexpectedly, know that that is your eclipse story in action. That is your eclipse story pushing you into the next chapter, because the thing about eclipse is that to the micro level, it may be like, why universe? Why not this job? But to the big picture, If it happens around eclipses, it was fated, and it was meant to be, to launch you to the next chapter. I may have shared this story before, but I'll never forget. I had to let go of a Zoom on the Cancer lunar eclipse, and I was crying. I was crying on the Zoom. And if you ask Lulu, do you want to keep this job? I would have definitely been like, absolutely, I don't want to leave this job. But honestly, there was a lot about that job that was not serving me. The removal set up so much alignment into my world, I would not be sitting here with you at all if I was not fired on Zoom that day. Again, that is not saying that you're going to get fired on Zoom. Although things are sometimes our biggest blessings, and they may show up in the form of an ending and a releasing, even to an ego level. To the micro level, we're like, no, please, but you're ready, it's time. Please forgive the interruption, but I wanted to call out which eclipses you may feel more intensely. You all are lunar sensitive, and these eclipses land in angular houses, so certainly the eclipses will be more heightened for you. But if you look at your Cancer placement and you see that you have Cancer placements at 5 degrees, 19 degrees, or 10 degrees, that means that one of these eclipses will square your Cancer placements. Also, if you observe your Cancer rising and you see that your mid-heaven is at 19 degrees Aries or at 10 degrees or at 5 degrees Libra, that will also be more pronounced for you. So just to go through what degree every eclipse lands in, I just want to share the following. The first eclipse, March 25th, and that lands at 5 degrees Libra on South Node. The second eclipse on April 8th is a solar eclipse in Aries at 19 Aries on the North Node. The last eclipse in this axis is on October 2nd. It's a solar eclipse at 10 degrees Libra on the South Node. The last eclipse that I want to connect with you on actually happens before the eclipse in Libra on October 2nd, but I separated it because it does land in a different sign than the other eclipses. The eclipse on September 17th is a lunar eclipse in Pisces on the North Node. Even though this year the North Node will transit at 21 degrees to 1 degrees Aries in Libra, it will be so close to this full moon in Pisces that it will technically create an eclipse. Now, this is a foreshadow for next year, because next year is when the nodes officially enter Pisces and Virgo. So it's activating within your chart, and it could bring certain emotional reveals about your own intuition, about your own connection to the something more, about academia, and it is with it on the North Node launching you forward into your next chapter, into your next step. But pay attention to what comes up, because that could reverberate into 2025 and beyond. So Cancer, I want to let you know that a year is a long time, and there are many transits that are within the year ahead, but I want to detail a couple of other big pictures themes that are playing out within your forecast. The first is there are nudges to both expand as well as contract embedded within this year's horoscope, and this is indicated by Jupiter in Taurus and then entering Gemini, which for you expands your 11th house of community and then your 12th house of solitude. So let's dig in. Within the first portion of the year, from January 1st to May 25th to be exact, Jupiter will be in Taurus. And with this energy, you can find that you are wanting to network. You are communicating with lots of different people. You can be stepping into a more public energy online, building an audience. You can be networking with colleagues. You may be saying yes to happy hour invitations and business networking events. Jupiter transiting the 11th house really asks us how it is that we are expanding our reach and our network. And if you find that you are not inspired by your friends, by the people that surround you, this transit can very well be the nudge to spread your wings. In the first part of 2024, start socializing with new, like-minded individuals. Be excited by the people surrounding you. Allow the people around you to be a source of wisdom. You know what they say. If you are the wisest person in the room, it's time to get into some new room. Some of you Cancers, I see, are stepping into altruism this year, and you can find with Jupiter in 11th house, you're really wanting to contemplate ways that you can make the future better. Whether it's your own personal future, wanting to take action to set up for tomorrow, or also for all humanity's future. I want to expand on that because I find it's fascinating. Cancer, this year a lot of you are feeling called to release and shed the past, which is a big deal because you're the sign of the past, and obviously there's a lot of nostalgia and being sentimental that is embedded within your sign. That's such a beautiful part of your energy, but I just see that there's this energy where a lot of you are shifting the perspective from ruminating on the past and what happened and wanting to build and set up your future. You might not even have conceptualized that you would live this long or make it to the other side of Pluto transit. But listen, Pluto energy can be really dark. It can really feel like a battle for your own survival and what you are. In 11th house, you're really wanting to make your dreams come true. You did not come this far to only come this far. And while sometimes you can be more concerned around the past connections and what happened to them, you are starting to attune your focus on how can I set up the future for me? How can I shift the focus from ruminating and obsessing over what happened and what didn't happen? There is this perspective shift to I respect that as part of the fundamental energy that built me. But the future me needs me right now. I can't have all my energy going to the past. I need to build my future. That can absolutely be the energy with Jupiter here. Then on May 25th, Jupiter enters Gemini, which is not great news. Jupiter does not like being here. It is in its detriment here, and it is in your 12th house, which is the hidden house. Some astrologers will say that this means that your luck is hiding. Take that if it resonates with you, but that is not what I have witnessed within my client's work. What I have witnessed within Jupiter in the 12th house is, yes, you will feel inclined to draw your energy inwards after what you've gone through with Pluto in the 7th. A lot of you are rightfully drawing your energy inwards, thinking, hey, I have seen what it is that I need to see out there. I need to take care of me right now. There is some weirdness out in the world. I need to draw inward to my own inner landscape and honor that. You know more than anyone. You're ruled by the moon. Honor these rhythms. Honor these cycles. Honor the call inwards. Oftentimes, the call inward leads to our greatest expansions, which is a foreshadow for you Cancers. This year, Jupiter enters your sign, and not only will it align with a very public portion of your chart, but Jupiter is also in its exhalation in Cancer, so it's going to transition from a territory it's not happy in to a territory that it loves to be in. It's directing all of that juicy Jupiterian luck to you. So very good things are on the horizon, Cancer. And it's not saying that Jupiter in the 12th house is necessarily bad, but it's just this energy in which you can feel more inclined to draw more energy inward. There can be a lot happening, but it's not very visible. You're not wanting to leak out your energy to anyone who asks for it. You're discerning. And with Jupiter in the 12th house, you could be working on something that you will then debut when Jupiter crosses over into ascendant. That energy is so embedded with Jupiter and Gemini, tailing North Node in Aries in July. Again, some of you could be feeling urged to withdraw in order to level up. You might be a little less accessible to the outside world, but when they do see you again, you're going to be a new version of yourself, a leveled up version of yourself, a successful version of yourself, a self-employed version of yourself, a healer version of yourself. Whatever it is that you're stepping into, honor the rhythm. If you feel inclined to draw inward in order to expand outward, you can be honestly going through a spiritual awakening or really wanting to dive deeper. You could be going to therapy, you could be dialing more into your dreams or into your intuitive gifts. A lot happening within your inner landscape. You may share it down the road. I also want to say, moving into the latter half of the year, be so diligent around the care and keeping of what it is that you need for honoring that you are feeling calm to draw inward. And again, it's not saying that you're quitting your job and just staying inside all day. Absolutely. With North Node in Aries, the entirety of the year, you're hustling, you're initiating, you're getting things done, and that might be why you're drawing energy back. It is because you're so busy. There is this energy of solitude, maybe working on weekends, working on this creative project, working on acquiring a new certification in order to heal or to advocate in new ways. That is helping you with the bigger picture. You really want your priorities to be in order. And I want to let you know, Cancer, that it is worth it. So honor that rhythm. I can honestly say that for me, I know the process of creating my business matured through a hermit phase, truly. When I was creating it, my life was just 9 to 5, teaching yoga, building my business, back to 9 to 5, teaching yoga, building my business. I didn't really have a life for quite a while there, but it was so worth it to get to the other side. And I'm so glad and I'm proud of the past me for making that decision to build the future me. Where yes, I wasn't at every single brunch with my girlfriends and my dating life wasn't on and popping, but it was so worth it. The sacrifice that I was making for future me was really worth all of that. Solitude can sometimes be beneficial because some of you could be withdrawing your energy because you're not sure what you're meant to create or put out there. And maybe the time inward is helping you come to terms with that. Maybe some of you are healing. You are going deep into these pieces. Maybe some of you are trusting your intuition more. I can see that for sure can be the case. By this point of the year, Pluto will have dipped into your 8th house, in which a new story is playing out until 2043. With Pluto dipping into the 8th house, it's leaving your sister sign alone. So this is a less in the pressure on you for sure. But Pluto is asking for this long-term transformation related to your shared assets merging, and 8th house also has to do with occult studies. With Jupiter in the 12th and Pluto in the 8th, some of you could be really tapping into a modality. I also see this with Saturn in the 9th. Learning a time-honored modality and really wanting to understand it really wanting to dissect and go deep, wanting to dive into hidden knowledge and tap into your own intuition. I absolutely see that can be the case for a lot of cancers, and maybe that's helping you show up in very powerful ways. It is this deeper knowledge that you are diving into. I do want to share, though, that with Saturn in the ninth here, the energy that I highlighted previously, where a lot of you may be learning something time-honored, some cancers could be going to school or higher education. Some of you could be wanting to learn things like astrology in a very slow, steady way. The energy of Saturn favors longevity, so there is no rush for creating what it is that you create in Cancer. With Saturn in the ninth house, you're really wanting your faith and your big picture beliefs to be grounded. You're wanting them to be time-honored. There seems to be a conflict of sorts playing out because Saturn is in the ninth, squaring off with Jupiter, which is in the 12th. So there can be certain crises of faith that you are navigating, swinging between some days trusting your intuition and trusting in God and having faith within the divine, and the next moment navigating intense feelings of doubt or confusion. Some of you could even be contemplating, is this even good for me? Others could find diving into these territories can be creating some fear or some intense energies that you are navigating, where you're thinking and having to contemplate what is the role that these modalities, that these practices play within my world. This won't be a message for everyone, but maybe for some of you who are religious or belong to an institution. There can be a blockage, like I want to connect to this religion, but also with Jupiter in the 12th house, I have to release my tarot cards and astrology. There could be certain contemplations about the way that things are done from a very academic and spiritual time-honored standpoint, versus what is bubbling within you, your own intuitive gifts and abilities, as well as your own embedded fears and subconscious processes. So there can be an energy of needing to rectify what you believe in and how you're tapping into the spiritual. There can be a conflict that activates when that square happens, which is around August 2024 and December 2024. The final theme that I want to get you acquainted with is your Chiron energy. I had highlighted it earlier within your Where's My Ruler section, but I want to bring to the surface here that if you have Cancer placements between 15 degrees to 23 degrees, you will have a Chiron square this year. Sometimes Chiron squares can trigger us quite a bit. Chiron is in the 10th house, so you may find that you have a boss who kind of triggers you, or a new opportunity that triggers you a little bit. Also with the Chiron energy, there can be certain wounds that do materialize this year, and like I said, your future needs you. So a lot of Cancers are looking towards the future. You are preparing for Jupiter to cross your ascendant sign, and that's exciting. We get triggered particularly when it has to do with stories from the past. It can be flushing all that out of our system. There can be certain external events that occur this year that bring you back to embedded stories within you. For example, with Chiron transit in the 10th house, you could have a boss or an authority figure who triggers you. There could be events at work or within career that trigger you, that bring you back to your own insecurities and inadequacies. I want to let you know, Cancer, if that happens, things are coming to the surface to be washed away. And a lot of you are feeling urged to show up in this more healing way, in this more empowered way, this more vulnerable way. Meaning that for some of you, this old stuff can be activated to allow you to pull it into how you're feeling urged to show up, to lead, to guide, to empower. So Cancer, in closing, I want to rapid fire through where all of the outer planets are transiting within your chart so that you can tune into the big picture themes that are playing out within these energies. For the first portion of the year, Jupiter will be transiting Taurus, which for you is bringing new opportunities for connections with the like-minded individuals and blossoming into a future. The latter portion of the year, Jupiter will be in Gemini, which gives wisdom when you withdraw from the outside world, when you cut through the noise of social media and gossip in order to tap into your own inner landscape. Many of you can find that with Jupiter and Gemini, you're learning a skill and wanting to withdraw inward in order to learn a skill, which could be a skill that helps you tap into your intuition. Saturn will be transiting Pisces throughout the duration of the year, which for you will be activating the ninth house of your natal chart, asking you to build the muscle of having faith, to lean upon time and honor traditions in order to make sense with the world and to be able to attain wisdom in a way that is structured and grounded. Chiron will be transiting the 10th house of your chart, which can make many of you feel urged or called upon to step into a role where you are a healer. You could be healing wounds of your past through the act of showing up, through the act of leadership. Uranus will be transiting the 11th house, so a lot of you can be connecting with very old eccentric types. You're really emboldening this very open, non-judgmental energy in regards to your community and your networks. Neptune will be transiting the 9th house of your natal chart, which again can mean a very intuitive year. Just make sure you're also working that Saturnian muscle of discernment, as Saturn is also in this sector. Pluto will dip back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn is wrapping up a journey that's been playing out about transforming your one-to-one connections and power struggles within them, obsessions within them, transformations within them. Then with Pluto in Aquarius, which is your 8th house, there can be a call for evolving your merge finances. Cancer, in closing, I have prepared for you some soul-centered celestial affirmations crafted from my heart to yours to allow you to continue to affix your gaze on the highest manifestations of these transits, aligning for you, not against you. The soul-centered celestial affirmations are as follows. I tap into my fearlessness. It is safe to be me. It is safe to be seen. My past does not define me. I am making my dreams come true for my future self. I connect with the like-minded, authentic souls who inspire me. I'm discerning with whom I share my energy. To connect means to evolve, and I allow my relationships to transform as I do. I'm a creative soul. I can make things happen. I believe in my strength. I listen to the internal cues of my body, mind, and soul. I contract in order to expand. It is safe for me to be in solitude, to prioritize my hopes and dreams for the future. I deserve to succeed. My big picture beliefs give me the strength and courage to keep going, to keep showing up. I advocate for the causes that I am passionate about. I am building a more beautiful future for myself, my community, and for humanity. I will leave you there, Cancer, Wishing you such a beautiful year. Let me know what you're looking forward to. Thank you so much for spending the past hour or so with me. Until we meet again, Cancer, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.